I'm back, Adonis. Yeah, man. Hope that helps you out. Hope everything's going well for you, man. But that's kind of um what you kind of have to think about when you're buying businesses. There's always obstacles. I think the most important thing is just making sure you have people in your corner that will help you get past those obstacles. I mean, honestly, like that's in any business, in any industry, in any of that. That's really what it is. Making sure you have people that are good advisors in your corner. If I'm looking to be a doctor and I have great doctor advisors, they're going to help me out. If I'm looking to buy a business, acquire a firm or something, and I have the great advisors in my corner, I'm going to get there. It's just really about having the right people in your network and the right resources to lean on. I've noticed that a lot of what I do, there's not a lot of people that are willing to help out exactly how to buy a firm. Mm, um, no, I think I can show you a comment here, Adonis. Let me know if that pops up on your side. Just testing this stuff out, but yeah, no, yes, you can buy a firm for $0. I talk about firms a lot because I am a CPA, and just naturally, I have acquired CPA firms. Nice, awesome. So naturally, I'm a CPA, and naturally, I've acquired CPA firms and accounting firms, and so it's just like I feel like we don't need to pick what we talk about and discuss and educate people with. It should just be what you're doing. Like whatever you're doing, that is your learning experience. And then once you've learned it, if you feel like you can help somebody else out, then by all means do it. And so along those same lines, that's kind of what I did. I've been buying firms now for a little while, and I've done all of them for no money out of my own pocket. I've actually bought 5 firms now for no money out of my own pocket, about 2,500 clients or so, and um, that's kind of where I spend a lot of my time talking now, right? So um, just kind of little things like that. I know I know acquiring a firm for $0, it sounds like a scam a lot of times, but it's like what $0 means is $0 out of your pocket. I mean, what that doesn't mean is that there's no money floating around. It just means that out of your pocket, you didn't put a penny on the table. And the reason that I love doing $0 down deals is because it's really hard to you don't have anything at risk per se. You don't have anything at risk in terms of like, hey, I took $100,000 of my own savings account and I put it in there and I lost it all. That's gonna be tough. Instead, you could say something along the lines of, "Hey, I put none of my own money and it all fell apart. All right, well that's fine. At least you tried. And that's the biggest thing is making sure that you try. You're not gonna always get it right. I promise you that. I don't always get it right, but for those that can figure it out, it's very profitable. I mean, it honestly and truly it is. It's a very profitable thing to learn how to go buy your own business. So I mean, trying to get my TikTok to get up here. I completely forgot about those guys. Man, too many platforms these days. It's just like the cable companies. We used to have cable companies. Now we have what do we have? All the different streaming services. So um, let's see here. But yeah, I mean, buying a business is great. Is definitely something that I think for those that are willing, it's definitely worth it. But for those that aren't willing to put in the work, then that's where you gotta really kind of make sure you know what you're doing when you're acquiring these firms. Because the reality of it is, sorry guys, I'm trying to go live on TikTok here, but the reality of it is, hey, how you doing, John? Yeah, I know we were talking a little bit, man. I know. I know you were watching. I think it was Brandon's podcast that we did, and he's a great example. Brandon Madden is a great example of somebody that didn't have no money and went out there and bought a firm for no money out of his own pocket. And if you catch that, it's on my YouTube channel. But John, I guess, caught some of it, and it's great to hear, not just from myself but from other people that are acquiring firms, that this stuff actually works. Because I was just talking about, it's tough when you um, when you don't have people in your corner that are doing it, like right there with you, holding your hand along the way. I mean, it sounds scammy. I mean, oh, buy for $0. Like, really? Like, everybody wants to claim that they're buying something for $0. But I think it's something that, when you hear it from other people, it's great to know that that it's actually something real. And I think that's inspiring by Brandon and everybody else that's doing it. And Adonis had asked a question here of, why, or can I really buy a firm for $0 down? And I think that's a great question, and it's a good one, because again, it does sound scammy and all the other things, but at the same time, it's real, and it's great to hear from some other people that are saying, yes, I do this. So yes, you can buy a firm for no money out of your own pocket. You can do it and not have to come out of pocket anything, any risk or anything like that. Yes, this is a very real thing, but I get it. It sounds scammy. And so that's why I spend my time, as I was working here in my office. That's why I dedicate some time to coming on and talking to you guys about buying firms for no money out of your own pocket, because it sounds like a scam, but it's not. And it has rewarded me, very much so. I have been blessed to. I don't take it for granted. Like, I was in the trenches. I don't take it for granted that I've been blessed to acquire these 5 firms. I'm at 2,500 clients now, and again, it's a blessing. But my life would not have looked the way it does right now had I not gone and acquired a firm for no money out of my own pocket. Because quite honestly, had I done that, had I just listened to everybody else, and not gone this route, I would be stuck in the rat race, still stuck in the daily grind, and I wouldn't have the ability to do the things that I do now. So I don't take it for granted. By any means do I not take it for granted. I know that this is something that can really change people's lives, and that's why I dedicate the time to come on here, and talk about this type of stuff. Monthly net profit on average. Yeah, so for me, it's kind of hard because every different firm has, basically a different P&L, and balance sheet and all that stuff. But um, we try to keep our firms horizontal right now versus vertically, and just kind of roll them all up in the moment. But eventually, we will get to the space, where we will, probably start consolidating. But net profit, I mean, you can probably expect, there's two percentages that you can expect on net profits. The first percentage is probably 40. Well, I take that back. Anywhere between 30% profit margin or so, maybe 35% profit margin on any firm that you buy. If that percentage is more, if you're going to be working there quite a bit. So you always have to factor in, like, what is what is that commitment that I'm willing to put. If you want to be a passive investor into a firm that you're acquiring, well, guess what? Now you're gonna have to pay more people, basically, and so that's going to drive your profit margin down. So Profit margin, if you want to try to just kind of automate as much as you can, it's probably going to be closer to like 15 to 20%, maybe closer to 15, when you're trying to automate everything. So John, that's kind of what you could expect. So, if your firm's doing, let's say, $1 million a month, that's $83,000. And then from there, you would multiply times your profit margin. Let's see, I'll do 83. I think it's 83, right? Yeah, basically, 83,333, times, let's say, 30%. So you could be making on $1 million firm somewhere's around $25,000 a month, and that's after like debt service and everything else. Or if you wanted it a little more passive, well, guess what? Now you're probably looking at about 15%. But the idea is nobody's probably bothering you at that point, and that's 12,500, basically half, right? So those are kind of some of the profit margins that you can kind of keep in mind as you're moving forward with this thing. It really depends how much you want to work in the business, because if you're working in the business a lot, that's fine. But yes, you will keep more of your money, but you're going to be trading your time. That's the biggest thing. Like, at the end of the day, everything we do comes back to trading your time. And you just have to decide how much you want to trade your time or not. Some people are okay. Like, I mean, truth be told, I've had people in my community, that have said, "Hey, listen, CJ, I know that this particular firm that I'm about to buy, I know that there's there I'm going to be working quite a bit, right? Because maybe there wasn't enough team, or something like that." Well, as long as you go into it knowing that, I think you're fine. But if you really want to be passive, then at that point, that's when you need to just accept the fact that you cannot buy one firm and, like, you think you. I mean, I'm talking sub $1 million here, right? Like, if you're buying a $10 million accounting firm, I think that's different. But you cannot buy a firm and just expect to completely retire off that one firm. Now, you will be much further along, because this is the beauty. Like, think about, what did we say? $1 million firm, 15% profit margin. Like, if you just want to just ask everything, right? And so, oh man, what happened there? So a $1 million firm, 15%, that's $83,333 a month. 15%, that's $12,500 a month. But guess what? You're not doing anything now, right? That's where the power comes in. I'm not doing anything anymore. So that's really where the power comes in, guys. And sorry, I was just setting up my. I forgot about TikTok here. Um, so putting that on here, talking about buying a firm for no money out of your own pocket, guys. I've bought 5 of them. I've done them all for no money out of my own pocket. John is saying, yes, want a completely passive model. Rather pay people to have it running, as I still have my delivery. Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, and sorry, TikTok, you guys don't have what I have on my screen here. I can't figure out how to plug in TikTok to the streaming app or whatever. I'll figure it out. But for the time being, Adonis asked the question of, can I buy a firm for no money out of my own pocket? Yes, it's very real. That's why I come on here and talk to Adonis and John and Beckins and Cruiser and all these different people that are on here. That's why I come on and talk about this stuff, because I know it sounds scammy. I know it sounds like it's unreal, like it's not a possibility. I get that. That's where I was. I was at the point where I was like, yeah, like, this is probably a scam. And unfortunately, in a world filled with scams and different things, that's just part of the battle that you have to face. But I can personally tell you that yes, buying a firm is absolutely real. And it's something that I think all of us should look into. And now I specifically talk about acquiring a firm. So, I mean, that's kind of the niche that I kind of stay in as of lately. But I mean, it could be for any business, honestly. It's just making sure that you find the right business. This is like the process as boiled down as I can make it. The right process, find the right deal, the right terms, and figure out how much you got to bring to the table. Through financing, as we've talked about, SBA financing will give you up to 95%, up to 100% bank financing in certain instances. So if you own a firm, if you actually own one, then guess what? You can actually go buy an entirely another firm for 100% financed by the SBA. That it's called an expansion loan, and the expansion loan is a very powerful tool that we have people in our community literally using as I speak. These people are, I mean, I can think of one guy, Aaron. He's in Buffalo. He's a CPA. His firm, I think, was doing something like $750,000 or something like that, and he decided to leverage the SBA expansion loan. And since he's buying another firm, he was eligible for 100% financing on, get this is a $2.25 million deal that he is going to be buying CPA firm for no money out of his own pocket. That's the power of just simply knowing the tools and knowing the ways that you can navigate around around the system here and get around that. Adonis still have the group. No, we ended up just kind of dissipating that one group. There just wasn't a lot of activity, so we just kind of had to readjust and refocus. And around that same time is when I was buying these accounting firms, and when I started. And my focus has kind of just really gone that way of acquiring accounting firms now, in CPA firms, tax firms. I think one of the best kept secrets of acquiring a firm has always been, and I'm learning this, what you're buying is basically a huge private farm of clients that you can sell your like consulting and advisory services to. That's the really awesome thing, and that's what a lot of people um, what they don't talk about is that you are going to be having a farm that you can market tax advisory services to, and you would not believe how starving these clients are for tax advisory type of business consulting type of services. The reason I say that is because in my own firms, we have clients that are like, "Oh my goodness, you guys do tax planning or tax strategy or whatever." Yes, like, is there any way we can find some time where we can sit down and talk a little bit more about this? So when you're buying the client base, guess what? You're buying a private farm of clients that you can market to. So there's two things. I can go build or I can buy. When I build a firm one by one, you know what I have to do? I'm more than likely going to have to spend a lot of money and energy in marketing. And marketing for new clients is very tiresome, and it's also very expensive, right? And so that's something that I think is super important as well, is knowing that building is very expensive. Now, after I even get that client, I got to make sure that they stick around. That's another risk of a new client. The propensity or the likelihood for a new client, let's say less than 12 months with you, the likelihood of that client leaving you is very high. I mean, you hear it all the time. It's probably happened to some of y'all. The likelihood of them leaving is very high. There's they just they're not that loyal at that point in time. The likelihood of a client that has been with you for, let's say, more than 5 years, the likelihood of that client leaving is very, very much lower. And that is great news, because when we buy a firm instead of build it, when we buy that firm, guess what we get? We get clients that have been there for 5, 10, 15 years. And that's the benefit of the stickiness of these clients. So they're not going anywhere. That's why I looked into buying. That's why I looked into acquiring a firm, because every time I did the math, it just made sense. I just kept running the numbers. If I want, let's say, 500 clients, 500 tax clients, it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of money to go get that. Or I can spend that same amount of time and come out of pocket no money and go just buy it and just learn those clients, right? Get a relationship with those clients. And the biggest thing that you buy when you buy an accounting firm is the trust. That's the biggest thing. And you earn your trust through the endorsement of the firm owner. So when that firm owner comes on and you come on and the letter goes out that says, "Hey, CJ's the new owner of this firm, or we're partner," whatever the thing, whatever, you got to put in your letter. Guess what? They're endorsing you. And when a client calls in, guess what? They're going to endorse you more. And little by little, you're going to start to be able to gain and build a relationship with those clients. And they're just going to start trusting you no matter what. That's when you say, okay, here's some tax advisory, here's some business consulting, here's some. I mean, we've done it all for these people. I mean, I just closed a $12,000 a year tax advisory client from a client base that I had acquired. I mean, that's the power of it. That $12,000 in revenue was not there when I acquired the firm, and now it is from a client that was already there. So I think if we talk about it from that level, like you can really start to see, wow, like that's the untapped power that's there when you buy a firm and when you buy the trust. When you do that, hey, you're getting a pretty good deal there. Rob has a question here. I'm going to go ahead and show Rob's question here. I assume you're not buying through a broker. Purchases through a broker typically want a heavy down payment, 50% or more. Yeah, Rob. So we have that's definitely true. Um, Preferably, if you can, I've bought with and without brokers, Rob. And for TikTok, Rob's asking that question. But I think the more than not, most of the deals are going to have brokers in them, and yes, those brokers are very picky and selective. Now, I think there are some brokerages that are a little more difficult to work with than others. I know POE Advisors, I think it's what it's called. Very difficult to work with. I mean, if you're watching, if anybody's watching, write that down. Poe Advisors, I think, is the name of the brokerage. It very, very difficult. You're just met with a ton of resistance. They'll tell you up front, if you're not coming with 10% down, or I'm sorry, if you're not coming with less than 10% seller financing, then we don't even want to talk to you. And I, in my community and with my clients, when I become your advisor, I'm going to tell you, we don't want less than 20% in a seller financing note, for risk mitigation purposes and client retention purposes. So that is it's something that will always be there, Rob. And I think the biggest thing is just keeping in mind that they're gonna be doing that. Accounting practice sales is a little more flexible, by the way. Accounting practice sales is pretty good in in at least just having the conversation. I'm not saying they're gonna sit there and, I mean, they still might try and kill your deal, but um, at least you have at least you have a conversation, an opportunity to have a conversation about it. But I'll tell you this, Rob, we have deals. So I did an on market deal. It was $775,000 for an accounting firm with a broker. and I was able to get 70% seller financing. And I think that is probably something that is tougher to do. But I will say, with the right rapport, and this is what I always say, with the right rapport, you can always get great deals. You can always get better and more favorable terms if you build a connection. I think that's the fallacy in our industry, is that we are so numbers driven that we are just simply not. We think if it works on a spreadsheet, then I should just be able to make an offer. You should accept the offer, and we're just going to move forward from there. But unfortunately, that's not how the real world works, right? The real world is going to say it's a human to human interaction. So we have to build trust, we have to build rapport. If you can do that, like myself, you can find a deal with a broker. That one was through Accounting Practice Sales. Like I said, I'm not going to give Accounting Practice Sales an endorsement by any means. They Unfortunately, there's just a lot of crappy business brokers, guys, and I'm a no fluff kind of guy, so I'm just going to kind of give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Just expect to make a request and not get responded to. I mean, unfortunately, it's just commonplace in the entire industry. The entire industry needs a cleanup, to be honest with you. They're just lazy and fat, in my opinion, in terms of, like, I guess because there's not enough competition. Like in the realtor world, I mean, you really gotta go above and beyond, if you want to get a good name out there, because there's a lot of competition, free market. But in this world, it's not. So anyway, just expect that. But it is possible to get big, hefty seller notes on a deal that's with a broker. Now, I have done 100% seller financing without a broker. I got a crazy story for you, though. We got a member in our community. His name is Matt, and he just is, I think, next week is closing on 100% seller financing deal that has a broker involved. That is a crazy story. If anybody wants to hear more about that story, let me know. I'll dive into that a little bit more. But it's possible, Rob. Great question. But yeah, it's very possible, man. And I hope that helps. I'm not sure if you're still on or not, but I hope that helps give you a little more clarity on acquiring an accounting firm, because that's what I do. That's what we teach on as well. You know. It's all about acquiring accounting firms for us. That's really been the biggest, um, I guess, biggest pivot for me, and the one that's paid off the most is acquisitions of firms. Acquire, yeah, I don't know. My TikTok is kind of messing up a little bit. But what other questions do we have about acquiring firms? I mean, like I said, didn't plan to stay on too long, so probably jump off here in a little while. But just what do you guys have? What other questions? I know it sounds. This is what I always say this. Like, I know it sounds like a scam, but it's not. It is real. Buying for no money out of your own pocket is like anything else. It's a process. There are steps to follow. Nobody out there sneezes or at the thought of acquiring getting a mortgage. And with FHA, I think you only have to put like 3.5% down, right? So nobody sneezes at the thought of buying a mortgage, getting a mortgage, and only having to put 3.5% down. Nobody says that's impossible, right? Because the product is out there. But we also know that with that product, there are a lot of hoops that you're going to have to jump through in order to get that mortgage and that FHA loan, and 3.5% down, right? So in that same energy, um, it's possible to get a business acquired for either 5% down or 0% down. And those are the two options up front. So if you already own a firm, a tax and accounting firm, CPA firm, you are eligible for something that the SBA calls an expansion loan, which is a very favorable loan for firm owners that can take advantage of this and get 100% financing for an SBA loan. That which is great, which is awesome. Now, if you don't already have a firm, don't worry. We can still do $0 down. The only difference is we're going to be at 5% down with the SBA. So the max that they'll get you to is 95%. And at that point, the question is going to become, all right, well, how do I get my 5% down? And that can be done through other people. That can be done through your own, financing options available to you. However, you can get that 5%, let's put it on the table for the SBA, and now let's get the deal across the finish line. It's that simple. It's the same. There's probably just as many hoops to go through with a house. There's probably more hoops, I would say, to jump through with a house than there is acquiring a firm, and which is crazy to say. But yeah, it's very possible, guys. Let me check TikTok real quick, see if there's any questions. Just want to make sure we answer those. John says he's in talks to acquire a boba tea store. Definitely want to acquire. Yeah, no, that's definitely want to acquire an accounting firm next while I build experience. I got her note to 35,000 in seller finance monthly with 25K down, 3 to 4K net monthly. Asking price asking price 35,000, seller finance monthly with $25,000 down. So, okay, yeah, that's pretty. I mean, hey, listen, it sounds great. One and that's another topic for the SBA is kind of like, man, seller financing is great, but sometimes it's actually from a cash flow perspective, like from a numbers perspective, it's actually better to use the SBA money than it is to get the seller financing. Now, I still want a portion of seller financing because of risk mitigation. Like, I need that seller to know that over a period of time you're going to get more of your money, so that we can get this deal done, and I need you around for a little while. But from a cash flow perspective, SBA does 10-year loans, right? So from a cash perspective, the SBA being able to spread that debt over 10 years is usually going to end up a little cheaper than being able to spread debt over 3 years with a seller note or 5 years with a seller note. Now, the drawback is the bank, and so now you got to go through the whole process. But it's funny how that works. The SBA is actually more favorable from a pure cash flow standpoint. But yeah, being able to get 95% seller bank financing is great. Being able to get being able to get 100% seller financing is also great. All of these things are great to know and to have in your back pocket. But I'm just here to take people through my journey, take people through the journey of acquiring. Again, it's you can get 100% financing with the SBA. You can get 95% financing with the SBA. And then for your 5%, again, figuring out how I'm gonna cover that. But literally, it's that simple, and at that point, you're good to go. You know, yeah. So that's I come on here to talk to you guys about acquiring firms because I know it sounds scammy. I know it doesn't sound real. I know it's very hard to understand some of the things that maybe I present or other people present. Unfortunately, in a world full of scammers today, it's unfortunate that we do live in this world where you have to be skeptical, and honestly, you should be. Like, I don't expect any of you guys to jump in from I don't know CJ at all to I'm gonna go acquire a firm. Like, get to know me, get to know acquisitions, research, educate yourself up. I have a lot of materials. You can always reach out to me. I have full 90-minute case studies on how to acquire firms. I have a ton of YouTube videos out there as educational materials. All the reels that I do have a lot of good little nuggets in it. Like, honestly, just follow the acquisitions industry, whether it's me, whether it's other people, whoever you want to follow. Just just keep that in mind, that you have you have a lot of free education out there to get familiar. And now, here's the thing: once you get familiar, at some point you got to flip the switch. Once you get familiar, at some point you got to say, I got to apply the knowledge that I have now. And that's when you become dangerous. Unfortunately, that's just something that a lot of us struggle with, because going from learning to doing, it's a big leap for a lot of people. John is saying the owner is moving to Florida. Oh, so the boba tea store that you're buying, the owner is moving to Florida. That's the reason why she's selling. I'm in Jersey, 5 minutes from the store. What do you think? Yeah, I mean, I just think at minimum you need a seller note, and it sounds like you have some of that. So the asking price is 35. So she's gonna finance you $10,000, I guess, and you got to give her 25 the day you close. I mean, I would definitely try and lower that down payment. I mean, look, if you've already agreed to the deal, don't change it. But going into it, I max I'd want to put down is half. So basically, half of $35,000 is what I would want to put down, and then go from there on terms and everything. I mean, the best thing to do is to try and get 100% seller financing. Because I'll tell you this, John, I don't want to mess with your deal. I'm not saying go gamble or anything like that. Okay, so just take this information and take it for what it's worth. I I'll play chicken with a seller like this. You always got to think, you don't need that deal. It sounds like she needs to move to Florida as soon as she can, right? Like there's more motivation. Like, who's gonna suffer more? And not suffer, but who's gonna be in the world of the headaches more? Her, if she doesn't sell, or you, if you don't buy? The answer is her. She's still gonna have to deal with all the BS that comes along with owning a firm, right? So you definitely need to keep that in mind. And me personally, I've seen it. I mean, I just told you about Matt, and this is on a CPA firm, a $750,000 CPA firm. He just got 100% seller financing. Why can't you get 100% seller financing on a $35,000 deal? You know why? I mean, you know why she's doing the deal with you is because you're probably the highest down payment. I don't know if there's anybody else she's even talking to, but that's why she's willing to do the deal. I mean, honestly, if I'm a seller, I would do that deal with you. Like, I mean, you're giving me almost all my money up front. I would challenge you. If I was in your shoes, I would say, hey, listen, my financing fell through. Unfortunately, like, look, I can pay you out of the profits every single month. You can still go to Florida. We can do this over three years, 4 years, and maybe two to 3 years, maybe 24 to 36 months. I know this is a smaller deal here, but I just got to pay you over like 36 months, and I'll pay you little by little, but I'll take over right now, and you can go to Florida. Right now, you still got to be available. I'm gonna have a lot of questions. I'm gonna be bugging you for a few months. Like, you expectations is so important. You really have to make sure that you have expectations clear on both sides. But honestly, again, John, don't let me ruin your deal. If you really love it and you're okay with the 25K down, by all means, go for it, man. I would just like, if I had the 25K lying around and it wasn't that big of a deal, whatever, let's try it out. But if you have 20, if you have to go like scrounge and scrape up, and basically it's like, man, I'm about to put $25,000 down, and if I can't get that back in short order, I am ruined. Like I'm taking food off my family's plate type of deal. I wouldn't go all in at all under those terms with $25,000. So I hope that helps you out a little bit, in terms of how I would approach that deal. Guys, I only planned on being on for like 15 minutes. Actually, been on closer to an hour now. So I hope everybody got a couple of nuggets. And again, like me, find me on YouTube or Instagram or LinkedIn or wherever. And we'll just try to continue having um, some of these discussions and trying to help you guys out as y'all are out there trying to acquire. We'll talk to you later, guys. Have